Have with me our Chief Deputy Superintendent of Field Operations, Chris Goodley, our Deputy Superintendent of ISB, Lawrence Dupree, and our Deputy Superintendent of PSAP, Professional Standards and Accountability, Otha Sandifer. We're just here today to discuss and share some of the results in which we've seen over the last couple of weeks when it comes to the hard work of the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department. In the last 2 weeks, our Bourbon Promenade itself has made 19 gun arrests over the last 2 weeks, 12 within this last week alone. An excellent example of teamwork between the districts and our VCATE unit and our federal and state partners is the arrest of a Mr. Jeremy Adams, 35 years of age. Adams was arrested on Saturday, October 8th, 2022, for an armed robbery that occurred in the 1100 block of Ursuline less than an hour earlier before his arrest. This incident occurred. First and 8 district detectives broadcasted the information of a stolen vehicle during the carjacking and were soon able to locate that vehicle. With the assistance of VCATE's major narcotics team, Adams was arrested without incident about a mile away from the incident, where the incident initially occurred. Adams is facing 1 count of armed carjacking and also has an active warrant for carrying a firearm on school property. So this is just one example of many good things that we have going on right now. Also, I know that you have had recent reports when it came to a recent rash of auto burglars over the last couple of days, Sunday as well as going into Monday in the 8th district. We believe the same crew are responsible for these incidents, and we are actively investigating and gathering information. In addition to our regular patrols, we have had deployed French Quarter supplemental police patrols in that area. The suspected perpetrators of the auto burglaries that occurred on Sunday as well as Monday were driving a white Chevy Silverado and burglarized approximately 20 or more vehicles in that area of the 700 block of Baronne. We had officers deployed to address potential auto burglaries during the Saints game. That is a part of our standard protocol or package when we are working large events such as the Saints games. As the officers were patrolling numerous parking lots, they observed the same Chevy Silverado upon the occupants of these vehicles observing the officers. The vehicle began to drive recklessly in an attempt to evade the officers. Officers, being concerned for the public safety, elected to disengage and not pursue the vehicle at that time. But the same group is also responsible, it is our belief, they are responsible for some other auto burglaries that occurred across the city throughout this weekend. We have received some information with regards to this investigation, but we're asking that if anyone has any additional information with regards to who is responsible or who are the responsible parties for these auto burglaries, to please contact us directly at the 8th District at 504-658-6080 or through our partners at Crime Stoppers. I'm going to pivot now to violent crime and speak to some things that we've seen in violent crime. With regards to violent crime, we have seen a reduction in violent crime over the last 2 weeks. And the reason I'm using or speaking to the last 2 weeks because it was 2 weeks ago we began our redeployment strategy in which we put more officers out onto the street. That was September 25th, 2022. And in doing so, as it relates to murders, we've had 5 murders reported over the last 2 weeks compared to 12 same time frame in 2021. 2 murders for the month of for the month of October, and I hope that I'm not jinxing us. We are superstitious as law enforcement officers sometimes. We tend to not want to speak to this, but we are at 2 so far this year. 209 in total murders for 2022 compared to 164 same time last year. Our homicide clearance rate is at 42%. The overall assault rate is 43%. 73 cases resulted in the arrest of an individual in 2022. With regards to non-fatal shootings, there were 7 non-fatal shootings in this 2-week time frame in 2022 compared to 2021, in which there were 10. So again, we're moving what we believe is in the right direction. This is not about trying to toot our horn because it's too early to do any of that. It's about sharing information, the initial information which we are seeing right now. We are hoping that this trend continues in this favorable direction. Response times as a result of these last couple of weeks in this redeployment strategy. I want to speak to the 7th district. I mean, that is where we had our largest challenges. And in doing so, over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a 4% reduction in emergency calls for service response time, as well as a 62% reduction in response times for non-emergency. Overall, 33% reduction in response times. Nothing, again, to brag on, but, again, something we should be proud of because we are moving or trending in the right direction because of the things that we put into place with our DART, our District Assistance Response Team, with our administrative officers pivoting and supporting that patrol in the field, as well as our investigators being more active in response to calls for service. So a lot of things that are going on when it comes to the New Orleans Police Department and what it is that we are trying to do. Next, I would like to speak to the IPM report and what we've seen, what was reported over the last week, I would say, with regards to the IPM report. So many of you have seen our response to a recent report from the Independent Police Monitor that we just released over this weekend that involved an incident involving former Councilman Jay Banks and Mr. Belden Baptiste. While we're working, and we will continue to work with the Independent Police Monitor on policy recommendations, we do not agree with the findings concerning the actions of our officers who responded to that location. At no point in time was any officer untruthful regarding their actions on that day. In no way did any NOPD officer attempt to intimidate either individual or provide preferential treatment to anyone while investigating this incident. We will continue to work with the IPM's office, but in this instance, I will say, I totally disagree with the findings of this report. But again, we will continue to work with the IPM office in doing what we need to do to improve our services to our community. So this information was compacted. It's a lot. There's a lot of things that are going on with the auto burglaries. We've seen a nice downward trend when it comes to violent crimes. So this is just a snapshot of what we've seen over the last 2 weeks. Nothing to hang our hat on, but I thought it was important that I came before you to report what we are seeing right now, and we're hoping that we will continue to move in this direction. But as always, we will continue to assess. We will continue to adjust as necessary to do what is best to provide the best services for our city. So with that